Norman. All right. All right. Just putting my face in the middle there because whatever. I think I kind of want to talk about the pick bans more than I want to actually talk about the game. But Scion ADD has actually been playing that since last season. It's been his like pocket pick, so that's a real respect pick to ADD. And well, Scion is OP right now, so ADD is probably the best Scion or one of the best Scions in LCK. So obviously going to take that away. GP, I feel like that's one of ADD's weaker champions, so taking that away, I guess KSV is just afraid of the level 6 global. And then Zoe is just OP because this is patch 8.3. Let's see. Then Varus, Gnar, and Kalista bans. Those are basically champions that are just gonna kite you out of a fight, keep you out of a fight, have a lot of Who's the favorite? KSV was the favorite. Let's see. First pick Galio. I kind of don't agree with because MVP could take away the Camille if that's what their ultimate goal was, because the combo right now is KSV versus or is a Galio Camille. Yeah, this happened 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago. No, 3 days ago. Sunday. No. Yeah, Sunday morning. Saturday night, Sunday morning. MVP, they lock in double ADCs, so they're gonna really want to push out that bot lane with the Caitlyn and kind of control the mid game with that Corki once he gets his double power spike. He can match the roams of Galio, and he can pretty much bully Galio in lane. He's one of the only actual mid laners that can, because he's actually an ADC, not a mid laner. Yeah, I know who wins this first game, but it's a really interesting pick ban because his first phase right here, double ADC with Leona, that's like weird because Caitlyn Leona, you have a lot of long range damage, but against Xayah Rakan, Leona's kind of going to be alone, and they could even just turn it around on this Leona if they really wanted to. But the lockdown potential of Leona into trap into a lot of damage, might dissuade them from going back in because, Rakan can, jump in with his knock up and then fly back a million light years because that's a Xayah, and that's what the Xayah Rakan combo does. Plus the combo of Rakan and Galio. I mean, you knock someone up with the charm and then you knock them up again with the Galio. It's a really, really tough situation to get yourself out of. So even having two pretty good ranged ADCs. Corki, he's only unstoppable when he's using the package, and he's not going to have that too often, and he's going to use that to either roam or just sit on it, threaten a roam, and then clear the wave in mid, because that's what a lot of players do. Right now, KSV have better late game scaling, but they're not going to make it to the late game. To tell you that right now. I'm not sure how smashed they get in this game, but all I know is when I went to sleep at around 20 minutes, Swain got like a triple kill. There is, but there is the risk of banning, like, the support that they don't want to see. Because, like, MVP, they picked the Caitlyn, so KSV picked Xayah Rakan, because Xayah does well into Caitlyn because she can counter the push with her own feathers and the just. I think it's bullshit how she has Twitch Ultimate level 1, but with her feathers and her own Q, she can kind of counter the Caitlyn push. And then with Rakan, KSV is going for a harder style of engage, really safe. Yeah, in pro play, the bans are done in two phases. They ban 3, pick 3, ban 2, pick 2. So the reason why they'll finish up picking their bot lane is because if they pick something else, then KSV are just going to ban the two supports that they know they'll have trouble with and that they know Max can play. So it's better for MVP to pick their bot lane and keep their jungle and top of mystery, because there have only been 3 top lane bans, which, ADD pulls out something crazy later on, and there have been no jungle bans. So it's going to be interesting to see what they pick. Me personally, I probably would have picked Sejuani here instead of Leona, because they're about the same type of champion where they can ult into the fight and then see if they want to, push and pull back. Like, because if Leona ults and stuns someone, then she can E in. If Sejuani ults and stuns someone, then she can Q in. So they're similar champions, just different roles. I'd like to see MVP try to pick it number 1 right here. I don't remember if they do or not. The Camille ban is just another top lane ban that kind of shows, they don't want KSV to have the Camille, Rakan, Galio combo, because that would just be inescapable and OP. Poppy is another respect ban to ADD. That is one of ADD's specials. ADD is pretty much the only one that plays it in Korea right now, so that Poppy ban is like, okay, they can pick Poppy into Galio because he can stop the knockup, and pick it into Rakan because they can stop the Rakan engage too. Kha'Zix, I think that was just a power pick ban. They just don't want to see Kha'Zix or Camille as the jungle options. Camille more has a reason to be banned. Kha'Zix, I guess his follow-up is similar to Camille, except he doesn't have the ultimate, but he can, sneak into a fight and then Galio ults on top of an invisible Kha'Zix. That's like, oh shit, what the fuck is going on? The Zac ban, I don't really agree with, because Zac has one direction, and that's forward, and it's difficult to kite away from that when you have Zyra Khan and Galio. So it might have been a smart pick. It depends on what KSV want to pick next. MVP going with the Skarner means that they want to go for picks and have a super strong mid game, because with this Skarner pick, if these people don't buy QSSs, then they're just going to get picked off, and then bam, they're going to get shot in the head. If they do buy QSSs, then that delays their power spikes, and the mid game of Trinity Force Corki and roaming Leona, Caitlyn traps, sieging up turrets, that's going to be infinitely stronger than what KSV will probably have. So Skarner, an interesting pick. I like it a lot. A good dive buddy with Leona. And KSV is going to counter with the Sejuani of their own. I think Sejuani is just straight, far and away the best jungler right now because of what I said earlier, similar to Leona. Ornn, kind of similar. They banned, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top laners, so Ornn is kind of the last good top lane. And he does, again, combo really well with the Rakan engage, then the Galio engage, and then, the air support from Ornn ultimate. This is a really huge engage comp. It's going to be low damage, or lower damage, because Galio is building, like, Burst Mage now. And then, they have a Wombo combo type of team comp. They can choose to disengage from it too, which is the interesting thing, because you can throw out the Rakan ultimate knockup, and then if he doesn't like it, just swoop on back to Xayah and they're fine. Same thing with Sejuani, throw out the ultimate. Ornn, throw out the ultimate. If it's good, alright, go in. Whereas MVP, they last picked that Swain because it's a real lane bully to Ornn. I've played that matchup, and it is not very fun. You want to play something like Sion, like Gnar into Swain, and all of this crap was already banned out. So, again, this is like, we're running out of top laners to play. Trundle could have been an option, but I think they wanted to pick Swain because, kind of just trolling them. ADD has always been a weird top laner in Korea because he played Sion basically before it was good. He's playing Poppy now when she's kind of weak, even after the buff she got. He plays Swain on patch 8.3 before all of the buffs on 8.4, and that's even before the buffs on 8.5. So, pulling out the Swain, he's a lane bully because this guy is melee. He's going to constantly be giving this guy a lot of, soul essence stacks. Do you think Azir or Ryze would have been better in mid for either team? Well, KSV from the very start was going for the hard engage because they picked Galio first. MVP could have picked Azir because he can bully out Galio similarly, and his wall does make this engage much, much harder. I think if anyone wanted to pick Azir, it would have been MVP, but Corki has, I think, a stronger mid game because he has a greater potential to roam with his package, and he has, once he gets the Trinity Force and the Infinity Edge power spike, it's really difficult for anyone to really get in on him. Whereas Azir, he has to ramp up over the time. So Corki would kind of have a bell curve as far as his power goes, and then Azir would just be a straight ramp up into the late game. So MVP from the start wanted to go for a more mid-game or centered team fight comp. Swain kind of needs to scale too, but he has good early damage, early pressure onto this Ornn. So it's a tricky pick and ban. It's really interesting how they went for it because if you look at their bans, they banned out Camille, Kha'Zix. They didn't want those two junglers to combo with the Galio. And, you know, they banned Poppy and Zac. Poppy would have just denied this engage altogether. And if they hadn't picked their mid laner, MVP hadn't picked their mid laner, I'm sure Azir probably would have been the ban because he has not equal potential to stop the engage. I'm not sure, again, why they banned the Zac. I guess it does have amazing follow up for whatever Leona will do. And, you know, being able to abduct someone that Leona stun locks is going to be great. But at the same time, Skarner forces the enemy team to make the decision, like I said earlier, where if they buy QSSs, then they're going to get picked off. If they don't buy if they buy QSSs, they're delaying their own power spike. If they don't buy QSSs, they're going to be abducted. So I think they had this planned out from the beginning, MVP, whether or not they got Skarner in that second round or not, but they definitely had this clear goal in mind. Whereas KSV, they also had their own goal in mind, and it is pretty good. Like, it's hard engage. They're super strong in the late game. Definitely. Whereas MVP has a stronger mid game spike. It's going to be much harder for KSV to anti-siege or to siege in general because of the Caitlyn traps, just the nature of Caitlyn herself. And then all of the poke coming out from Corki. Swain doesn't have as much poke damage, but you know, you don't want to engage into a Swain because if you do, he's going to slap you with the Qs in the face. He's going to snare you, keep you right where he wants you, and then when he ults, you know, he's a drain tank. We're going to see later in the game that Swain actually gets a really good teleport onto the backline of KSV, and then they just can't do anything about it because they used up all of their engage at the Dragon Pit. It's a really cool fight, and I don't know how the game ends, but I do know that MVP wins this. Alright, I'm going to skip ahead if I can. Alright. Alright. So I accidentally skipped a little bit of the jungle start, but Skarner started topside, which normally doesn't happen. And then he goes to Raptors. I wanted to call them Wraiths. Raptors, Wolves, Blue. So what he does next with this level 3, I don't... He can pressure the dragon early on. I'm not sure if that's what he's going to do. I don't remember what he does first. But you can see this defense ward right here for Swain. They kind of know Sejuani goes from bot to top because of that good leash earlier on. I don't think they had vision of her doing the scuttle crab, but they do have defensive vision, so if they find her coming in to check these raptors, they're going to be able to see that. I would have preferred that ward be pushed out a little more. Yeah, bot lane you can see fighting. That's Aftershock Leona, so she just goes in and then doesn't take any damage. My voice cracked. She doesn't take any damage, and she walks away. Beyond is checking for wards over by the dragon, but now they know that Beyond just checked this because on the minimap you can see the little bloom go out. So they know that Skarner is in the area. That's why you can see Galio walking over. He wards the river right there. Still doesn't know that Beyond is here. So this is a nice gank right here. Bot lane fighting at the same time again. He flashes forward into the taunt, lands the stun, forces out the flash too. That's a good trade, I think, on flashes. Yeah, because like Papa Smithy just said, return gank at level 6. It's really hard for Galio to get out if you get in on him because you can block his only escape, which is his E. Or if you do him like Azir, where if he uses his mobility first and goes in on you, then it's like, okay, he's dead now. Oh. Duh, my bad. you don't need to know all those stats. Yeah, that was dumb of me. No, I feel like a dumbass. But I am a dumbass, so that's okay. Sejuani didn't really do much with the information she got from knowing where Skarner was. She didn't invade topside Krugs. She just kind of cleared out her own jungle. It's kind of lazy for this Sejuani. ADD, oh, that's another thing to mention. ADD with Glacial Augment, it actually helps him set up his snare a lot easier so you can keep getting those soul fragments. Because at level 6, what happens is he gets those soul fragments, and that means he can do more damage with his ultimate, basically. Because you have to activate his ultimate and you become a drain tank in a giant AoE around you. And then when you reactivate his ultimate based on how many of those little red lines you have underneath his name, he does more damage. And it's amazing. He's going Transcendence, Gathering Storm, so they're in this for the long haul. They know that Swain is a late game champion, and he's going to be able to pick up the slack after the mid game power spike of Corki and kind of Caitlyn. Caitlyn's a weird champion because she's strong. Like, she's not the strongest at all stages of the game, but there are situations where it's like she's super oppressive, like sieging a tower or trying to counter siege a tower or setting up in the jungle for an objective. Like, it's basically all her trap play. Let's see. Second blue, or no, he's just clearing out his jungle again, doing another rotation through it. Second red is about to spawn, so they're gonna want to give that second blue to Corki. It looks like they don't have any vision of Sejuani. I wish I could toggle the vision, like if I had a VOD myself. But they don't know where Sejuani is. He's still setting up vision around this dragon. He's doing kind of a risky invade, but it's not really because mid and bot are kind of pushed to their towers. So it's really hard for KSV to come in on them. Even though Beyond, he takes this fight. He's a level up. He knows he can take this fight. He's going to ult Ambition outside of the Galio ultimate, but Beyond, he doesn't have Flash. So super risky to even come in the first place. The Flash heal from Pilot actually saves his life. So that was a really risky play for MVP, but it pays off in the end. And that's his ultimate right there. Yeah, that was an interesting fight. We're gonna see another replay of it because Skarner, they don't really account for the bot lane coming to roam up. Look, because you can see in the minimap right here, Rakan is roaming up, and Leona and Caitlyn are following immediately. Xayah has to take the long way around, but by the time she even thinks about going to the jungle, the fight is already basically over. Because this is a smart invade from Beyond, even though he almost dies. Even if he did die, that's a 2-for-1 trade. So getting in there, seeing that his bot lane has pressure, seeing that his mid lane has pressure, he can get in there. Then, wastes Galio ultimate basically doing nothing because he pulled Sejuani out of the ultimate with his own ultimate. They trade 2 for nothing. They're not able to do the dragon afterwards, but that's okay because now they have a lot of money going into that Corki, going into that Caitlyn, which is exactly where they want the money to be. ADD, he's just farming in top lane. He doesn't really give a shit. He's having a good old time. Yeah, that's a farm lane for Ornn. You can pressure Swain earlier on, but once he gets his Roa and once it starts stacking up, it's really hard to fight him. That's another annoying thing. If you snare someone while they're in the bush, then you can't, reactivate it to pull their soul out. That's just one thing I noticed while playing him myself. So like right there, you ADD generally would have pulled it, gotten the soul fragments. Here comes Predator Skarner. Corki was on the roam, but they already knew it was coming. And then once the Predator popped up over their heads, it's like, all right, let's just walk backwards. So just applying that pressure in the bot lane, they know that You know, Sejuani can't really fight because of that early death. They don't know where she is on the map right now. If you look at the minimap, there's no red vision deep anywhere in Sejuani's jungle. So this starting up the dragon from Ian, not very smart. They do pull back off of it though. It looks like Skarner, yeah, he just took the scuttle crab, so now they have that vision there too. But it looks like the call was, you know, hey, let's start dragon. Wait a minute, we don't know where Sejuani is. Let's not. And they still don't know where Sejuani is. Still don't really know where anybody is. Skarner's still in the jungle. Now they have vision of Sejuani. They know exactly where she is. They're clearing out that pink ward. Skarner has to get out of there because bot lane is being pushed in, and that's a risky invade. They're going to lose vision control around this area, but they're going to know exactly what Sejuani is doing. Which means ADD is just going to be able to free push out that top lane, push it into the QV turret, and maybe get a little bit of damage onto it, maybe make him lose a little bit of XP. If you notice, Kuve is holding on to his teleport and walking back towards top lane. That's because they know Dragon is on the table right now. They're going to want to fight for this Dragon. It's just a matter of when. So instead of, you know, teleporting top just for a little bit of farm and then, you know, saying, oh, sorry, I can't teleport to the fight, they're just walking back to top lane. Let's see. Yeah. Now, like I mentioned earlier, Xayah can push hard into Caitlyn, which is kind of annoying. Caitlyn Leona actually, if Leona eased the wave and then Caitlyn uses her Peacemaker on it, it pushes pretty hard too. But, you know, just because Xayah has Twitch Ultimate, she gets to free push it as much as she wants. ADD using up a lot of mana. He went for boots first instead of trying to finish whatever item he is trying to finish. That's a really deep engage from Core JJ. He's forced to flash away because if he didn't, he would have just been impaled, and that would have been not very good. Because that death would have then led to a dragon attempt, and then a dragon fight undermanned, and you know KSV can't really deal with that without their main initiator, who just used his flash ultimate knockup combo. So you know, even if MVP starts up the dragon 5v5, it's going to be really hard for KSV to do anything, which is why they're starting up the dragon right now. I don't think they have vision of Zion Rakan going back, but they know, okay, they just backed off after pushing in a wave. This is going to be pretty free. They also saw Galio roaming a little bit towards the top side, so again, they know this is free. Still no vision of Sejuani, but they know where she isn't, and that's near the dragon pit. So, really lazy from KSV. They just kind of gave it up. It's like one of those solo queue things where it's like, oh, yeah, I mean, we had to back and get our items. You know, I was trying to make a play top. I was farming top. Ruler taking a lot of damage there. Predator Skarner knows that Core JJ does not have flash. Sejuani here for the counter gank because they know that MVP is thirsty for this flashless Core JJ. And then here they go. It's great CC engage from Max, but he gets kited away. It does become a 4v5 now. ADD still drain tanking, has to flash away, which is unfortunate. But just like he's zoning off 3 people. If you also notice, Skarner held on to his impale for so long. And then the fight just keeps going. In the replay, we could break down the fight a little bit better, but you know, the push-pull of that fight right there was people just preserving their cooldowns. Like, the Skarner holding on to his ultimate so he can re-pull back in the Ornn. The Galio holding on to his flash so he could flash, taunt, re-engage. It's, like, if this were any elo that wasn't Challenger, they would have all flashed away, like, right here. Like, when Xayah flashes away, follows up with the ultimate. Like, Max probably would have tried to flash out much sooner. Doesn't even use his flash, actually, because of just that chain CC. Kuve misses his Ornn ultimate, but that's because, again, flash was used. So, yeah, you look up top. Impale used, and Beyond is like, all right, let's back up. Ian flashes forward for not even a big one. So that's when Crown knows, all right, he doesn't have flash. I'm gonna flash in, and we're gonna get 2 more kills. So a bad fight from MVP. It was smart to try to keep pressing forward, but it's one of those situations where, if you go too hard in, then you're gonna end up biting off more than you can chew, and that's exactly what happened. They didn't respect the fact that Galio still had flash. Maybe someone called he didn't have flash. That's an error that's happened before, but they have to respect these cooldowns a lot more. If they know that Galio has flash, they should know that the flash taunt is in play. And if they know the flash taunt is in play, then they don't flash forward into, 4 people to try to get a little bit more damage off. The last pick was also MVP, so that's fun. MVP is always the org to pick weird things, and I think that's because they know they're like bottom of the barrel, so they have to pull out something cheesy. It doesn't work most of the time, but when it does, it's really funny. The gold is about 1.5k, which, it's a small lead. That's mostly in the dragon and in the farm. I think they know, yeah, they know that Ruler doesn't have his flash, but Core JJ did a really good job of keeping the Skarner away from the fight. Core JJ does have his flash, so even if something did go wrong for Core JJ, he would have been able to just, flash away. Now, Beyond, he doesn't have his flash because that was used in the last fight, and they know it, so they go in on him. But, Zaya's kind of being zoned out. Galio and Corki are roaming over. Ultimate finally used by Beyond, but they just keep following in. That's interesting. Yeah, I think that's a good call to keep following in because if anyone tries to turn it around on them, like ADD doesn't have teleport, so he can't join the fight. Corki doesn't have package, so it'd be really hard for him to join the fight. And, Galio could just join at any time. So they know they can keep pressing the package forward. The package. That's Corki's thing. They know they can keep pressing the issue. And they did, and they got the kill. Did they burn any flashes for it is the question. No, they didn't. They didn't even burn summoners for that. They just kind of walked in, let Skarner use his Impale for nothing. Now that's a cooldown Skarner's not going to have in the next fight. It's going to be testy going into the next fight because everyone is going to have their flashes back up. Swain was looking for a roam down towards mid, but, Ian is just going to push in. I'm just looking at the mini-map, trying to see what's going on. Next dragon is spawning. Teleport from ADD is going to come up around the same time. Kuve's is already up. Galio doesn't have teleport. Ian might have teleport. I think he will have teleport in time. So all the teleports are going to be up for MVP. And they're not going to be all up for KSV, but Galio has that ultimate, so even if he's pushing mid, he's just going to be able to join the fight. Yeah, Max, I don't know what you were doing with that right there, but MVP, able to push them away. Pilot is not a bad ADC. He was on Jin Air before the Green Wings dropped him for Teddy. So, he's pretty good. And if you see what he did with those traps right there, he's like, alright, you can have the jungle, but you can't come out of it. Ian with a good escape right there. QSS for Ian. Because he doesn't want to be CC'd by Sejuani or Galio or anybody like that. Again, it delays power spike, but I could see why he picked it up. Looks like he's going for either Shiv or Rapid Fire Cannon next item. So that's going to be a nice power spike. Yeah, this is a great concave to have right now. Engaging onto Max. And then watch this teleport from Swain. He just comes in. He is behind the entire enemy team. He's dealing so much damage. And then because ADD basically zoned out everybody from trying to kill anybody else other than himself, that's just a free fight. Yeah, just Papa Smithy just mentioned it. Leona has a really good E that helps her escape because she goes up to the Sejuani, who's like closer to the dragon pit. Like, why are they engaging onto a Leona in the first place? That's a Leona. Like, aftershock Leona. What are you doing? And then the concave that they originally had gets collapsed on because you have Pilot and Swain on one side, and then Corky and the two tanks on the other side. So KSV, what they had was they had themselves lined up around the dragon pit in this concave to catch out uh, Skarner from the jungle, but then it got turned around on them because of that teleport and because of the bad engage. Because what they should have done was not engage out of the concave onto the Leona, but engage into the concave onto the Skarner. So instead of being able to collapse, they were able to be collapsed onto. And this is just going to be a free dragon. They're not going to be able to steal. Yeah, this is where I fell asleep. Because this is the second match of the night. And, ah, shit, I forgot to start recording. Ah, well. I'll just hit the highlight button later. So, everything after this point, I don't know what happens. But you can see MVP is going to start snowballing their mid game. They don't have any tower. Nobody has a tower yet. So KSV is going to, try to push for it. MVP don't really seem to care top side or mid side if they get the first tower. They're just repelling the push from the bot side. And one thing I hate about spectating a Skarner game is you never know which team the zone belongs to unless you look at the minimap. That's just one of my pet peeves. Yeah, one of these teams needs to make a push for the first turret. They can't do it with Herald because it's already gone, though. They just waited way too long. I'm actually surprised at the lack of Rift Herald focus. Oh yeah, this is before GLP got changed and built out of a different item. So Swain with GLP on top of Glacial Augment. Glacial Augment is actually going to shoot out a beam that slows the person for a lot more because of the Hextech GLP. Plus, it gives him the health and mana that he needs with the Catalyst. So it's a really good buy. It's a good build. And he's just going to be able to dominate team fights with it because he's going to be able to slow everybody. Then he's going to snare whoever he wants. Then he's going to just explode on them. He's still taking a lot of damage from Kuve, but that's because he's a tank. Just pulling some soul essence out of him. It's good sustain. I like Swain. I've started to play him myself. I'd like to watch more Swain games. I think we might with 8.4 or 8.5. Yeah, this is not a safe. I mean, no, this is a safe invade actually because of the Galio, because of, priority on the bot and mid lanes. Teleport is coming in from Ornn too, so this is a really good fight. But the re-engage is going to start coming in. Look, they trapped themselves all right here in this corridor, and if ADD could just get into that, that would be sick. But he can't, and, MVP are just pushing them out. I think so, definitely. Because they definitely gave him more strength in the early game, which he was kind of weak in. The item changes were kind of bad for him because he would buy GLP, and they changed it so that that doesn't give you health anymore, which he kind of needs because he wants to be on the front line being the health tank drain. So I think he'll just go Rod of Ages instead of GLP, but it would still be nice to have GLP. So it'll be cool to see what pros build on him, but I think he will see a lot of play, especially because of the Scion bug fix and the repeated Ornn nerfs, which he's still seeing play. But like, if there's someone strong, like Ornn is still strong. I played him today actually into a Scion, and I actually got a solo kill. But that's Diamond 5 NA, not fucking Korean Korean League of Legends. So I think Ornn is still pretty up there. And as we could see just from this game alone, he can still push in Swain pretty well. But if Swain, no, with the Swain buffs, he should be able to deal with Ornn a little bit better because they're like changing it. So instead of like, I think it was a 7 second cooldown at level 1, it's like a 5 second cooldown level 1. And Ornn's W is like a 18 second cooldown. So you're gonna have a lot of time to free hit on Ornn before he can get his shield back up again, and then have the threat to trade. Sion, I think he's still gonna be seen. So that's a good lane for Sion versus Swain. But again, with the Swain buffs, I think Swain might be able to just again go even, and I think if Swain goes even, then that's good for him because he's gonna want to scale. Oh, there he goes. Yeah. It's strange in this game how it's 25 minutes and only one turret has been taken so far. I would have thought that, turret pressure would be higher up on the priority list for both teams, but it looks like they're both just comfortable farming this out. Yeah, I'm trying to play more games so I can buy Swain and Olaf and Nocturne because of all of those nice buffs. But I don't know who I want to buy first on this account. I have Swain on my Smurf, and he is a lot of fun to play. But it's, practicing Swain versus Silver is different than practicing Swain versus Plat 1 Diamond 5. Yeah. Next dragon is spawning. It's an ocean, so MVP doesn't really care about it that much. If it were another mountain or another infernal, then they probably would. But Ocean Drake, it's good for them, but they don't need it. That was a great flash forward onto Impaled Ruler before he had the chance to ult, but here comes the rest of the team. That was a really good collapse. ADD just wants to flash forward and explode. But, 1 for 2 trade. It was really smart of Beyond to flash onto Ruler, who doesn't have the QSS yet, so he can't escape that. But the counter engage from Galio was able to, stop it short for a little bit until they've got collapsed on again. You see, KSV, they keep setting up these areas where they want to fight, and then they keep getting collapsed on from other areas. Like, there, they were trying to push up into the little brush, and then they got collapsed on from behind. And then they tried to collapse on that with the Ornn teleport, but they just weren't able to do so. It's like, this is a good zone to fight in if you're Galio, because you have a lot of AoE and shit like that. So here comes the Swain teleport from behind. Galio gets in there, and now that they've put themselves in there, they're getting collapsed on, and they don't want to be here. Even with the help from Ornn from long distance. Ornn actually just completely missed his ultimate. He just straight up missed that ultimate on everybody. So that was a bad fight to take, and then bad execution. Or no, not a terrible fight to take. A bad fight, but not a terrible fight. But then the way they tried to disengage and collapse from it just didn't work because you saw them go out in all different directions. Like one of them wanted to avoid the Swain, which one of them, was coming from below the fight anyway, so he was able to get out safely for free. It was just a clusterfuck. And here Swain is going to do the dragon. His Q does a lot of damage, but it takes up so much mana. Because it's like, it's going to be on like a 2 second cooldown now at rank 5, and that's before CDR. So you're going to be spamming that shit, but you're going to run out of mana so fast. Which is probably why you're going to want Rod of Ages on him. I haven't seen Tier on him, which might be interesting. I'd like to see what that feels like. Yeah. Now that the game is slowing down again, 2 more turrets were taken for MVP, so they're keeping their gold lead relatively ahead. They still have to fear the scaling from KSV. This is a good flank right here. It's just gonna push them off the tower long enough to get the tower. So KSV, they weren't looking for a fight, and they got what they wanted. They got the tower. But Ian split pushing down. He just gets that tower for free too. So that right there was a smart move by KSV to commit to taking the mid tower, because that opens up the map a lot more than losing just the bot outer tower. Because nobody rushes to save the bot outer tower at 30 minutes, but trying to protect the mid tower is more important, because if you lose this mid tower, then you lose influence over the raptors and this entrance to the jungle over here. So now it's safer for these people to, walk through these paths on that side of the river, enter the jungle as they please. And you have no middle turret to fall back to. Yeah, now that they're setting up for Baron, Caitlyn is just insane. Because look at these traps. Look at these traps. And then Swain is going to pull them into the traps. And then if someone steps on the trap, Swain pulls them further in. What the fuck? They're just 2v1. They're two-manning the Baron. QV forced to flash. Beyond uses his, whatchamacallit, his move speed item. What's the name of that item? But yeah, that Baron was basically taken for free because of the zoning of Swain and Caitlyn. And then just the tankiness of Leona. That's the item. Righteous Glory. I've been forgetting names of things lately. But yeah, that was a super smart, super sneaky Baron to take away. Now the question is, which lanes do they push down? Because yeah, they just went and got that mid turret. Do they all focus mid and try to push that in? Or do they, focus top and bot just to get all of that standing gold out of the way? I think what they do is split push with Ian or ADD bot. Like, they can set up a 1-3-1 easy. It's going to be harder for Swain to take turrets solo, but in a 1-3-1 where it's impossible to engage onto the Caitlyn because, she's going to set up a trap line and have a Leona and a Skarner standing next to her, then, you can't really force a fight on that 3 unless you commit all 5 using something like the Ornn ultimate into the Rakan, into the Galio, and just wombo them over and over and over again. But then if you do that, there goes bot inhibitor, because Corki has Trinity Force, Infinity Edge, Rapid Fire Cannon. He's going for his, whatchamacallit next. His Shiv. So, he's just going to clear those turrets as fast as humanly possible. If you hear galloping horses, that's just snow falling on my roof. I wonder if it's still snowing. It's dark outside, so I can't tell. But, yeah. It looks like they're just going to 1-4 here in bot. MVP doesn't have Banner of Command. It would have been better on them because, they're the ones in the lead. I don't like buying Banner of Command when I'm behind because, you just banner a minion, then it dies. It's like, oh yeah, that did the job. It existed. But Ornn had Banner of Command. He put it on a minion and bot, and then it just, fucking dies. So, what can you do? Especially against a Corki who's just gonna, who actually can auto attack it to death. Yeah, this is just gonna be an easy siege from MVP. They have Caitlyn traps set up to avoid the fight from, the flank, and headshotting the turret is just gonna take it out for nothing. Swain pushing mid too. That's nice. Does Matt? Oh, Max does not have an ultimate hat. That would have been funny if he did. Hmm. Getting an auto attack off onto Ruler. Here comes the Wombo attempt. They actually bursted down Swain. That's nuts. See, that's exactly what they needed to do and what I said they needed to do. They weren't able to kill the carries, so they're going to be able to clear out minions. Not safely, but they are going to be able to clear out minions. Yeah, they just CC'd Swain down into death. Now I'm not so sure. Do MVP win this series? Yeah, they're gonna be able to maybe even take that inhibitor tower. It depends on how long they want to stay. Now they're gonna peel back and take this dragon. It's a mountain drake, so it's gonna definitely help them in scraping their way back into the game. But it's nothing major. Being able to just respond with one turret and a dragon, that's fine in KSV's book. They're still behind, but MVP, what they need to do is expect that kind of engage, and then, like, just watch him come in. He gets 3 targets that they want, follows up with the Galio, follows up with Sejuani. Swain literally could not do anything because he was just bursted so fast. So MVP really need to respect the long range engage that KSV can throw out like that. Like, they don't even need to catch out Ian or Pilot. Just bursting ADD was enough. ADD and then Beyond, who, Beyond has no escapes. Max has no escapes. ADD has no escapes. So engaging onto one of those 3 is going to be fine. Maybe not Max because he has Aftershock and he's Leona, so you can just press W, get 100 armor and magic resist, and then Aftershock for another 100 armor and magic resist. But KSV is going to set up this Baron just like they did last time, and they're not. This is exactly where MVP want to be, because it's going to be really hard for Rakan to actually, get in and do the fighting. It is almost a 6-item Caitlyn, almost a 6-item Corki, to a 3 2/2 of 2 items Zaya. So MVP still have all of that power that they've gained so far, but they have to be careful again of that engage that KSV can just pour out. You just put him in the bouncy castle, and it's like, oh, they can't do anything. There's Rakan knock up, Galio knock up, Ornn knock up. You're stuck in the bouncy castle. You just can't do anything. Swain is foregoing a 6th item for more control wards. Huh. He knows he can't push into that minion, so he's just gonna push past it and let the minions take care of it. That's funny. Yeah, what Papa Smithy is talking about right now is because there's no Callista, they have to see who busts tanks faster, and because Corki and Caitlyn have double Infinity Edge, they're going to be able to just crit through and melt these tanks so much faster than Zaya alone is going to be able to. Because Crown, he's building damage, yes, but he's not a tank buster. Like, you saw Ian just like one auto attack on Core JJ, 33% of his health. Oh, this is really good for ADD. He's just gonna ult, and that's beautiful. I don't think it is enough damage to actually. Oh, that explosion. That was so unnecessary from ADD. But yeah, that was exactly the fight KSV did not want. They wanted to be the ones to engage, and MVP was able to get a really nice flank on them. See, KSV did it again. They set up where they wanted to fight, and then they got flanked on. That's happened 3 times so far this game. And a Baron for free. He actually has a Rylai's. What a madman. Yeah, because look, they can like if they engaged onto that right now, instead of trying to use their engage tools to peel away, then KSV probably could have won the fight because they needed to not go back into the Swain. They needed to say, "Oh shit, Swain is behind us. Let's go forward." Because if they go forward, they completely avoid Swain, and they can use all of their engage tools to wombo combo the team. Ornn was a little too far away to actually be of use besides his ultimate, but I think if KSV turn onto the Caitlyn and the Corki instead of trying to peel away with the Sejuani ultimate and trying to peel away with the Galio ultimate and trying to peel away with the Ornn ultimate, then it would have been a successful fight. Because if they blow up the other people on the team fast enough, then who cares if Swain is flanking? Oh my god, that's Swain damage. Yeah, now it's basically MVP's game to lose. But what can happen is while sieging the base, KSV can hard engage again. Dragon is spawning soon, that's Elder, so I think peeling off for that will be the okay move because you can't engage into an Elder Dragon team. Oh, a bad engage, and there it is. Great ultimate from Beyond. See that? That was a really bad engage because oh my god. Oh, damn. Yeah, that previous engage right there. Sejuani missed her her Q, her dash, her knock up. Come on, get him the Penta. Oh no. Got it. Oh, the high five. Oh shit. Yeah, no, in that last fight, if I want to pull it back a little bit, it's a little too far. That's a little too far again. All right, a little too far again. Here we go. But yeah, if you notice in this fight, Sejuani misses her, dash in onto the Leona, and that's not who you really want to engage on for, like I was saying before, because she has aftershock and she has a W that gives her a fuck ton of armor and magic resist. So if we see right here, she misses, and then she's in fear of dying, so they call for the ultimates. And that's a really good ultimate from Ornn, actually. But now they're using their ultimates again to try to peel back. And then, there goes Galio, there goes Sejuani, there goes Ornn. And it's because they weren't using their ultimates to go forward and instead going backwards. That was a 1,000 damage crit. Holy crap. But yeah, that that was just a bad fight to take from KSV, knowing that they need to continue to pile on top of, like, they needs a dog pile, not just like throw a pillow and then throw another pillow and then throw another pillow. That was fun though. But yeah, overall interesting team comp from MVP, like I talked about in the picks and bans. And then KSV could not operate their team comp to how they wanted to. They wanted to just keep going forward. And I think it's because they fell behind early that they were afraid to keep going forward. And because they were afraid to keep going forward, they lost a lot of fights where they were trying to use their ultimates to peel back. So that is unfortunate for KSV. Wow, there's a lot of time between games. Oh, wow. They actually go to game three? What the hell? Okay, but MVP wins anyway. But yeah, that was just poorly executed from KSV, and then MVP had really good flanks. And if that were any other top laner, then it wouldn't have been as good because Swain dealt all of the damage and was super scary enough to zone everybody away. If it was maybe a Gnar, then kind of the same effect. If it was a Camille, then that's someone you can collapse on and just kill. But because it's a Swain who's super tanky, big and scary, drain tank, lots of damage, the flanks worked, and the flanks won the game. You can see it one more time. misses the engage, so they choose to start going forward, but now they're going backwards, and they're going backwards, and they're ulting backwards, 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 and then they just get caught out and die. So just really bad fight to pick from KSV. And that was the theme of tonight. Just bad fight, bad fight, bad fight. They had a good fight, but then bad fight, bad fight, bad fight. And I'm gonna clip this and post it to YouTube, and then post it to Reddit and get 0 upvotes, and then I'm gonna go eat some more food because I'm kind of hungry, and then I'm gonna bother my little brother, ask him why he's smurfing, and he's gonna tell me it's because everyone on ranked is stupid as fuck. Because it's true. Alright, thanks for watching. It's not YouTube video format, so I'm just gonna cut my stream. And thanks for stopping by, Rocky. I'll probably, if I want to, might stream later if I feel like playing more games, but I don't know, honestly. I don't know.